So the question is, do you enjoy working with a band or your solo stuff more? And can you explain the difference between the two for you, emotion-wise? So, do I enjoy working with a band or solo stuff more? I think that they're two different beasts. And to get it out of the way early, I would say I enjoy working with a band more. And that's not to say that solo stuff isn't great. Working with a band is a super creative way to work because you're bouncing ideas off of each other. You end up creating things that you would never create normally while you're working alone. And that in itself is something that helps you grow as an artist. To get outside of your box and create these things that you didn't know you were capable of simply because you're working with other people. And if it works out well, those other people are also experiencing that same sense of creation. Each person in the band brings their own unique thing. For example, I can play guitar okay, but in the band situation, there are things that our guitar player Jeremy can play that I'll never be able to play. He just has his own unique style. He's the kind of guitar player that when you hear what he's playing, you know it's him. And I could say the same thing about Adam and his drums. He's a very unique drummer, and you put all those elements together and you have this unique sound that you can only get with those three people that are in the band. And I'd say that goes for 90% of the bands I've been in. That other 10% is just bands that didn't last very long or wasn't able to create anything. Now, as far as the solo stuff goes, there's definitely an appeal to that, right? Essentially, you get this blank canvas to work with, and you can put anything on it. And there's definitely a discipline to that I enjoy. There's also a lot of experimentation happening because you do have a blank canvas in front of you. I'll write some drum parts, I'll write a bass part, guitars, melodies, the whole thing. And there is something very satisfying about having a complete song once that's done. There have been instances where I've written something, recorded it as a solo idea or project, and then later that song will get brought into a band. What the band does makes the song so much better. To answer your question, overall, I think that working with a band is just a much more fulfilling experience. Plus, little bonus here, you get to interact with those band members and you get to become friends with them, you get to fight with them, you get to have all the things that you have with a healthy, good relationship. Sometimes not so healthy, but generally a healthy relationship that has a lot of back and forth, pushing and pulling and growing. And those friendships usually last a lifetime because emotionally, a band is a lot like family. I see it all the time in other bands too. From the outside looking in, when I'm with a band that I'm working with, making an album or whatever, you can totally see how the dynamics of each band works. And it's always interesting seeing those relationships and how they respect one another or don't. So I would say the difference between the two. I will give the solo thing this. It allows you to really dig deep and be free and as open as you possibly can be because you're working on things that no one ever has to hear besides yourself. And I can't tell you how many songs I've written and recorded that no one will ever hear because I'm working through some stuff and, they don't always get finished or they're very short or they could be refined. But there is a satisfaction there of, okay, well, I tried that idea or that maybe this idea is just for me and no one else has to hear it. And I'm glad I got it out there, at least out of my own body and out of my own brain and onto some type of canvas, right? But overall, I have to go with the band experience. Working with others, especially working well with others, is a total worthwhile experience. I hope that answers your question. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you. ONB Sound.